I think it's important to remember that there's billions of people on the planet, but only one of us.
Voices of the Goddess.
Welcome back to another episode of Voices of the Goddess, where brilliant women come to take a break from their successful and sometimes overwhelming lives to level up, live free, and create abundance.
If your hectic life has you feeling a bit lost, if you're building your career, brand, or business, or if you simply want to get the most out of life, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Julietta Wenzel, founder of Body and Soul PT and Soul Candy.
And I'm your co-host, Graciela Laurent, professional portrait photographer specializing in boudoir and personal branding.
Whether you're relaxing with a cup of coffee or running around town, we've got you.
Whatever you're doing, thanks for bringing us along and sharing a laugh.
Here comes the magic. Hello, hello.
Hello, my friends. How are you doing today?
Awesome. How about
Wow, that's a big, juicy awesome.
you? Right?
You must be feeling centered and clear and love and light.
Always.
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 Like, where do I sign up for that? I know. bodyandsoulministries.com. No.
.love
.love.
or .org, right? It has been an interesting transition from Body and Soul PT to Body and Soul Ministries. And but part of the shift is like all the other fun, exciting services that I provide that are really becoming, part of what's going on. And so recently with Halloween, I'm in a business networking group. And so for Halloween, I was, the whole Ghostbusters, who are you going to call? Well, call Julietta because she does ghost busting. And so one of my fellow BNIers, she's an attorney, and she's like, oh, I have this mediation coming up, and like, I feel like the energy's not right. And can you come do something about that? And so the next morning I went in, I cleared the energy of the space. I cleared her energy. I did some crystal gridding in the office and intention setting. I even had taped crystals underneath the table that they would be sitting at for this mediation. And so this week she comes and she tells me, so prior to the mediation, her client, like what they were offering her client was $35,000. And after they sat for the mediation, it was, I don't remember exactly, but over $200,000 is what her client got. And she was, she, the attorney who you think of attorneys as kind of like black and white and traditional. But she was 100% certain that the work that I had done in her office had made that possible. So
I absolutely believe it. You can always tell when you walk into a space and it just feels calm, right? There's just like an energy in the air. And, because, I spent 20 years in the legal field, everyone comes in defensive, almost borderline angry, like before they even say hello, because everybody's so amped up. It's almost like a big football game, right? Like everybody comes in like, okay, we're going to get them, So to come into a space and like low key feel a gentle, safe space vibe, wow, that brings everybody down, right? Like, honestly, you should have like a mediator special. We got to put you in touch with like divorce attorneys. Like, how much smoother would everything go if everybody just walked into a really chill space, right?
Yeah. And I laugh, so I'm in the third office space that I've been in as a professional, and I'm moving next month. And there's that little, people come in and they're like, oh, I love the energy here. It's so amazing. And then I'm like, yeah, and I'm moving. And they're like, and I'm like, but don't worry. I create this energetic feeling like wherever I go, like the next space is probably even going to be better than this. So setting the energy tone like that, I'm good at that. I can do that.
You
So
certainly can. You know, I remember when I first came to look at this studio space where I am now, and it was an absolute hot mess. Like, it was pretty gross. The floor was torn up, the walls were terrible, like there was food bags everywhere. But I don't know, I just knew it was the right space. And now people walk in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a safe space. It feels so good. It feels so warm, so inviting." And I'm just always like, "Well, it's because all the love, honestly, all the work, all the clearing, all the stuff we put into it, it's literally in the air.
yep, yep. You ready to bring on our guest?
Let's.
Whoop whoop. I'm like seeing, do I know how to do that? Welcome to the show, Moni.
How are you guys?
Doing good, doing good. Will you please take a moment to introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what keeps you passionate about what you do.
Okay, so I am Moni. I am 25 years old, and currently I am a freelance consultant. I specialize in creative and wellness industry. So that is a little bit about me and what I do. Also, what keeps me passionate about it, I would say, is I have a natural gift for helping people realize the power within themselves and just, making their life more easier, less overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, so I just kind of help everybody tone it down and be more in control of their lives. So I feel very good with that, and that keeps me passionate about it.
I love the way she speaks is so, I'm like, okay, I'm calm now.
She's like a walking sage stick. I love it.
Right?
I appreciate that.
So how did you get to the point in your life where you realized that you had this gift? Surely you must have had some limiting beliefs before that when you were like, is this really a thing? Or have you been this way, quote unquote, since you were young?
Oh, not at all. So, actually, from the time, like most of my life, actually, I just was raised to believe in the whole rat race. Just work a job, you find one good job, and you stay there for your whole life, and you go to college and do everything. Like that was pretty much the way I was raised and what I believed at a certain point. Until I graduated high school, and as soon as I graduated high school, I hit the ground running. Like I'm talking about student full time, 4 or 5 classes every semester. I had 2 jobs as well, and it was a lot. So I had gotten to a point where I was doing really good at both of my jobs. I was up for a promotion that I wanted, or like in consideration for that role that I wanted. And also I was doing good in school. I was just about to graduate with my associate's degree at the time. And people were like congratulating me, like, "Oh, you're doing so well at work. You're managing everything so well. You're about to finish school in a minute." And at that moment, everybody was saying those things, but I felt like I was at my lowest during that time. Like I was exhausted. I wasn't taking care of myself as well as I should have been. It was like, as far as my priorities go, it was like, as long as I made it on time to work and I gave my all, as long as I finished my homework assignments and I gave my all into that, those are my top priorities, and nothing about myself came afterwards. It was like work, school, sleep, repeat. And if I ate, that was great. But if I didn't, I was still going. So very soon that took a toll on me. And, when you don't give yourself rest, your body will do it for you. And that's exactly what happened. So after I got my associates, I started looking into like the major that I did go for my associates for. And, none of the roles really paid enough for me to get an apartment that I wanted. The job that I wanted the promotion for, they ended up giving it to someone else who didn't put the work in that I did per se. So it just made me realize, like, you have to see the value in yourself, even when nobody else does or before anybody else does. Like, you have to see it in yourself first, and you can't wait around for someone else to prioritize you and take care of you, and do things for yourself. So that's kind of how I made it here. because after that moment, it kind of made me realize like, hey, like I have to learn to prioritize myself, take care of myself. And I noticed how many other people weren't once I started it, and how many other people will look at me and be like, hey, like, oh my gosh, wow, you're prioritizing your sleep, you're prioritizing your eating, you're trying to learn how to heal yourself. Wow, why are you doing all that? Like, just go to work. And I'm like, no, like, so it kind of became a thing where people around me were like, oh, wow, like, you're different. Like, you're doing this and that. And the advice I would give them for things I was doing for myself, when they implemented the same thing I was doing, it kind of helped them a lot. And they would come back to me and tell me how good they felt. And it kind of stuck after that. So, yeah.
I'm like, how beautiful to make those realizations at her age.
I know.
How many are walking around old like us and just tired because we never listened to that voice, and you just kept giving your all and giving your all and giving your all till one day you just can't anymore. So beautiful for you to wake up to that and to share that with others your age, because this whole overworking society that we all co-created together is ridiculous, and we get to change it.
We do. One person at a time, really. But there's a quote that my family always says, and it's like, it's a pretty popular quote. I'm sure a lot of people know it. Just be the change you want to see in the world. So I have to listen to the little voice so I can be that.
Absolutely. So before you arrived, Graciela, Moni told me that she's all ready with her book. And I'm like, Graciela is going to be so happy because she love. I love books, but Graciela is like obsessed with books. And so
I love books. I think every book has a secret inside of it that could change your life. So you got to read them all. What you got teed up for us? What you got?
Hey, so I have two, actually. I have two. So one is The Intimate Herbal, which it says a beginner's guide to herbal medicine for sexual health, pleasure, and hormone balance. I really think it's important for every woman to read a book like this, because we just deal with so much between like our periods, and it really takes you step by step from when you're a woman, like from the time you get your first period, when you're going through puberty, like as when you're young, like, and then it goes into like as you're going up in an adult, if you have anemia, if you have PCOS, like anything you may have, and then it also goes all the way up to menopause and things you can do for that. Like it takes you to the full cycle of a woman and how to handle it and deal with it yourself and create your own little routine for what's best for you. So I really think any woman can benefit from reading this, and it explains everything so well in detail. I love it.
That's super cool. That's a brand new book. No one's ever said that here before. It's super neat.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad. And then the second one is called Live Your Best Life. And this one has 219 science-backed reasons to rethink your daily routine. So basically, like anything from what you do when you go to bed to help you sleep better, what to do in the morning to help you not feel so groggy, not feel so tired, to help you wake up smoother, what time of the day is best for you to work out so that way you have the most energy. So you don't, work out too late and then it messes up your sleep schedule, from the food that you eat. Like it breaks everything down into science-backed clinical studies. So yeah, I like that one too. It helps with creating your own wellness routine and how to strategize your day.
That's amazing. And I just want to echo what Julietta said. Like, what a gift for you to have all this knowledge at 25. My God, that's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying. I try to read a lot. I'm obsessed with books. Like my bookshelf, I'm probably gonna need another one in like the next month.
Don't ever let people tell you to get rid of them. Don't do it. Everybody wants to be a minimalist. Keep them forever. That's what I say.
Me and my friends, we actually do like a book swap. Like every few months, we'll all get together and do like a big swap. So it'll be like books, clothes, shoes, jewelry.
Nice.
I'll just exchange throughout that. So last time we went, I had a lot of books on like personal finance and like budgeting, and a lot of them took those. So that was great.
That's really cool. Well, I'm impressed you can let go of them. I tend to keep them, and sometimes I go back and reread them, and sometimes I just like seeing their titles on the shelves, like my old friends. I'm like, I'll call you later, but I see you're there. I love you.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's hard to let them go sometimes, especially the ones where you feel like sometimes you can reread it again and still learn something new from it. And it also just, it's sitting on the shelf reminds you of a specific time in your life. So I get it, but I try to be as minimalist as I possibly can. So if I know I've already taken something from it, I try to be like, okay, well, I don't know what you're going to get from it. So let me just, I'll just hand it off. Like, I'll try to not possessive, even though I want to.
What a beautiful lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I've said this before. I don't know what it was, but I read the Marie Kondo book, and because I want to lead a minimalist life, and there's many things I'm very like free at getting rid of, but books was one of those things that I didn't think that I could get rid of. But something about how she wrote about it made it feel okay for me to, like I'm not throwing them in the garbage. I'm like passing them on to other people that could benefit from what's inside of it. And I guess I feel like if there's ever a time when if I really want to read that book again and I've passed it on, um, books are not that expensive. Like books are actually one of those things that is still really quite affordable. So I can always acquire another copy.
Exactly. Also, too, I feel like when it comes to books, if you've already read it, we're always evolving, and our personal development is always changing. So I feel like if you already read that, there's always something else that you haven't learned yet that maybe someone else needs to read the book that you already read because they haven't learned what you already know. But there's something else that you don't know yet, so you can take in something else and let somebody else,
Yeah.
it's a cycle.
I will tell you that more than once has it happened to me that I get excited. I buy a book, and when I bring it home and I go to put it on the shelf, I realize I actually already had a copy of that book. So then I have two copies. But I'm like, that's okay. I have kids. I'm going to force them to read it with me later. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It's still gonna get read. That's all that matters.
So I'm curious, having already accomplished so much spiritually, intellectually, and in your dream jobs and all of these new, things that you have going on, what do you see next for yourself? We like to tell people that life is always a journey. It's not just that you got to your destination and okay, now you're done, right? Like, what's next for you? What's your next big step?
So my next step for me right now is so going back to what I said about I just have a passion for helping people reduce the outside chaos like going on in the world and kind of just focus in on themselves and making it less overwhelming for them, more efficient, more optimized for themselves. And I think that goes into more than just like your spirituality or anything like that. I think that it's a lot of different pillars, lifestyle pillars that help you to create that balance. So everything from like the book that I already said, like your daily routine, your wellness routine, or different herbs that you drink in your teas every day, or everything from the way that your hair is, the way you're dressed, do you feel confident and beautiful in your clothes? Everybody's weight fluctuates throughout their life and time. Do you still feel comfortable, confident, uh, even in your finances? When if you are balanced and you're living a good life and your affirmations are where they're supposed to be, you're attracting money, but do you know what to do when you attract that money? Are you budgeting correctly? Are you investing well? There's a lot of things that go into it. So the next step for me would be to become an expert in the things that can help people, just focus in on those. So if that means like learning more about personal finance and investing, then maybe it's that. And then learning more about styling, and color theory, what hair colors and hairstyles make you feel most beautiful and confident, what clothing and silhouettes are best for you that fit your body type. I believe that when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. And people can sense that when you step into a room, you know, and when people can sense that and feel that off of you, that confidence and that, you know, that self-love, more opportunities are attracted to you. Not only that, but just like when you show up as your most confident and true self, you attract a top opportunities that best fit you. So if you are someone who wears, if I was someone who wears my natural hair, right? And I do that everywhere I go, I'm gonna attract opportunities from other people that will give me more of a reason to do that even more. Like whatever fits the lifestyle, whatever I put out into the world is what I will get back. So I just want to become an expert in all those little details. So that way I want to be able to offer my consulting service as a package. I will discuss your life with you and I break down each aspect. And maybe you are really good with your diet and fitness and you don't need help with that. But maybe, you know, you lost 30 pounds because you've been working so well and you don't have any clothes that make you feel good anymore, then I can help you with that. Or if you just got a new job, the dream job you always wanted, and you're making more money, I can help you to budget that and create, you know, what's next for you, you know? So that's my goal moving forward.
She's got the whole package going on there. I'm like, big dreams, big dreams. That is good. Do you see anything that's potentially getting in your way of doing that? That you're
yeah, I would say that just, you know, because I was raised to believe in, you know, the rat race and just, you know, the normal societal standards, you know, me fighting against that little voice in the back of my head saying that that's still like the way to go. I have to fight against that every single day. You know what I mean? So those are my goals, and it's just me trying to ignore that little voice and believe, you know, what's for me. And believe that I can, you know, help people on a larger scale that way. Like I can break their life down and, you know, get rid of the chaos and make it easier. So, um, it's just about ignoring that little voice and remembering like I do have a gift. I have to reassure myself when I talk to people about these things, they feel better, they love what I do. I've seen the results and I have to have faith in that and believe in that every day. So yeah.
I think too it's important for us to surround ourselves with people that support us in our dreams because we've all had those people around us that are like, you're gonna do what?
Mm-hmm.
Are you crazy? Like that's not how things are done in this world. And looking at the transition that I've made, you know, right now, switching from a physical therapy practice to a ministry, and there have been those people that are like, what are you doing? Are you nuts? And I just set them aside. I don't need to listen to them because there's plenty of other people that see my vision and are there supporting me and cheering me on. And, I think we all need to focus on our cheerleaders, and, you know, if people aren't behind us in our game, let them go.
Yes, exactly. Let them. And you know, it can be hard, especially when like, you know, everybody has like their inner circle, like their family, people they've grown up with, and it becomes hard when those people don't see it the same way you do. It does become hard, but it's about, you have to remember like the people that you're attracting, people that you're looking for, the community that you're seeking, it's not there because you were there with them and you realize that it wasn't right for you. So that it's not going to work for them either. Like, you know, those circle of people. So you just have to ignore it. Everybody has their path, their community, and that community is not for you, and that's okay. So yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting close to the end of the show here, and I want to ask you what final nuggets of, I always say what gift you've been dropping knowledge for the last, God knows how long we've been on here. What's one final thought you think is important for everyone to know?
I think it's important to remember that there's billions of people on the planet, but only one of us. There's only there's never going to be another one exactly like us. You know, maybe someone similar, but nobody exactly like us. So I think it's very important. I think it's our duty on this planet during our lifetime to use what we have, use our gifts to our advantage, monetize it if you want to, if you need to, and, you know, allow your life to, you know, be lived through you, by you, not you having to work and scavenge and just, you know, feel like you need to chase everything. That's not how it works. What's meant for you will come to you as long as you are your authentic self and do what you need to do every day. So always remember that. Yeah.
And I always tell people too, like, you showing up as the authentic version of you gives other people permission to show up as the authentic version of themselves.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So that's your homework, everybody.
That's right. Remember it. Wake up every day. Like, how can I be myself today?
Life's so much easier. Like, if life feels like a struggle, check yourself. You might not be being authentic with yourself. And because
I always say, if it feels like you're doing it the hard way, you probably are.
Yep, exactly. And that's probably not the way you should go. We need to reevaluate. I live my life in threes. So every 3 months, with the start of every new quarter, I reevaluate what I've done, how many times I show up as myself, how many times did I pull myself out of my comfort zone. Like, so I live my life in threes. I think a lot of people will be good, like, reevaluating themselves every once in a while. Just, you know, check on yourself, make sure maybe you liked something 3 months ago that you don't like anymore. Just reevaluate it every once in a while. I think it'll be good for a lot of people.
Yeah. 3 is the number of change. So that's like in numerology, 3 symbolizes change. So that's so it's a good.
So that's funny. Okay, that's good to know.
Synchronicity and everything. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You're just such a beautiful breath of fresh air. And, you know, I always look at us old people were always like, oh, these generations coming in, they're like messing everything up. And, you know, everywhere I look and see in the youth, I see opportunity. I see possibility. I see growth. I see, you know, people say things are getting worse out there, and it depends on how you're assessing things. But from a spiritual standpoint, from a self-care, self-love standpoint, I think things are shifting, and you are a perfect example of that. So thank you for showing up on the show today and showing the younger people like how things can be.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. You guys have no idea what you've done for me today. So thank you.
We're honored to have your wise words of wisdom. If you guys want to connect with her, she will be in our Facebook group as well. So if you have any messages, you can check her there. And then, of course, check the show notes for any other info, and you can always connect. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for joining us today and keeping us in the top 10% of podcasts in the world.
Ask us how you can promote your business on this podcast as a sponsor, and make sure you check out the show notes for details on how to get in touch with Julieta, Graciela, or today's special guest.
We're sending you lots of love and gratitude. Have a magical day.